This video is sponsored by Squarespace. It's somehow already been over 5 months since Nintendo took us to subterranean Hyrule with the reveal trailer for the sequel to Breath of the Wild. But aside from this teaser trailer and snippets from interviews, we don't know much at all about the game, though fingers crossed for another look at the Game Awards next month, the event at which the original had its very first gameplay showcase, as well as full trailers for the main game and the Champions Ballad DLC. Breath of the Wild owns the Game Awards, so here's hoping we see something about its cryptic sequel this December. But even if we're still left in the dark for a while longer on Breath of the Wild 2, it won't stop us trying to piece together the trailer and wonder what the game itself will be like. Building on the foundations of Breath of the Wild, what will the sequel add to the new 3D Zelda formula? New mechanics, enemies, storylines, or are there features from older Zelda games we'd like to see return? Let's today look at some things from older Zelda games which I think would be incredible inclusions to Breath of the Wild's upcoming sequel. Sheik. Princess Zelda, while absent for almost the entirety of Breath of the Wild, features just as much, if not even more, than Link does in the trailer for the sequel. She's rocking her blue travelling outfit along with a new haircut. Many people believe this means we'll see a playable Zelda in the sequel, but even if this isn't the case, I'd love to see more of the princess this time around. And one of my personal favourite incarnations of Princess Zelda has to be her appearance in Ocarina of Time. During the game, we meet Zelda not only as a child, suspicious of the Gerudo man pledging allegiance to the kingdom, but as an adult, the 7th and final sage. But there's actually a third form in which we see Zelda. During the 7 years in which Link is sealed in the Sacred Realm, the princess is trained by Impa in the secrets of the Sheikah, allowing her to travel Hyrule disguised as Sheik. Sheik is an elusive character, appearing and disappearing into thin air, referred to as a young man by those who meet her. With the Sheikah's incredibly strong presence in Breath of the Wild, not only traditional Sheikah like Sheik, but the treacherous Yiga and the pious, technologically hyper-advanced ancient Sheikah, it's incredibly likely that there'll be at least some Sheikah presence in the sequel. So why not the inclusion of Princess Zelda's most famous alter ego, Sheik? We can actually see what Sheik might look like in Breath of the Wild's Hyrule with the Sheikah outfit, which Link is able to purchase from Kakariko Village. These clothes utilise Sheikah technology to suppress sound, granting the wearer superhuman stealth. This outfit was even used for Sheik's design in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, whereas before her appearance was based on concept art for an unused appearance in Twilight Princess. If Zelda's playable, or even if she isn't, I'd love to see a return to her Sheikah disguise, with another appearance of Sheik more than 20 years after her debut. Kinstones. It's no secret by now if you've been watching my content that I love the Minish Cap, and one of my favourite features in the game is Kinstone Fusion. Kinstones are small disc-shaped tokens, emblazoned with the design of a 4-leaf clover. They're created by the Minish, the race of tiny folk who thrive off making Hylians happy. Each kinstone is split into 2 complementary pieces, which fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, and kinstone pieces can be found all across Hyrule, in chests, grass, or dropped by enemies, allowing Link to build his collection and fill his kinstone bag. 100 characters across the game carry kinstone pieces, and Link can attempt to fuse with them by matching 2 complementary halves. Characters don't really understand the significance of the stones, simply noting that they believe it brings them good luck to fuse a kinstone. But for Link, successfully pairing a kinstone with its other half will trigger an event somewhere in the world. Caves will become accessible, chests will appear, or special enemies will spawn. While it's occasionally tedious for completionists, Kinstone Fusion gives the player new incentives to find and interact with every character in the game, on the chance they have a kinstone with which Link can fuse. Adding this mechanic, or something similar, to Breath of the Wild's sequel would give the player more of a reason to fully explore the game's towns. Many of the game's characters are actually incredibly interesting, with brilliant stories or habits, but many players won't ever interact with them as they pass on to the next objective. A mechanic like Kinstones also adds a way to bring new life to Breath of the Wild's Hyrule, which we know is intended to be reused, at least in part, for the sequel. If new areas, chests, enemies, secrets, and challenges could be unlocked by interacting with characters, it gives more incentive to explore the world. Before we get into the last two things, as many of you know, I've been working on my website, zeltic.co.uk, using my Squarespace account, which a whole bunch of you have been using to drop video suggestions directly into my Google Drive. The last theory video was actually based on one of these suggestions, left by Kimball Peterson. Despite having already entirely forgotten what I learned at university about website design, Squarespace has let me build a website with ease, simply choosing elements from a large selection to drop into each page, including complex features like a suggestions form linked to my Google Drive, or a gallery for my graphic design work. And it doesn't matter what you'd want to use a website for, the service is flexible enough to suit Zelda YouTubers just as much as artists or musicians. If you'd like to try out Squarespace, you can grab 10% off your first purchase, including a free trial where you can test the service without providing any payment details until you're sure, by heading over to squarespace.com/Zeltic. Ganondorf's Trident. Of all the cryptic details in the sequel's teaser trailer, the resurrected corpse of Ganondorf, the abundance of luminous stones, the mysterious spectral hand, there's a seemingly minor detail which could mean the return of one of the series' most iconic weapons. During the opening shots of the trailer, we see Link and Zelda pass through a cave, the flickering light from their torches illuminating the walls, along which are paintings of warriors on horseback. Most carry bows and are obscured in the trailer, but the focus is on this central rider, who features the Gerudo symbol on his back, as well as the sharp nose of Ganondorf and the pointed ears of his Wind Waker and Twilight Princess appearances. This cave painting could very likely be depicting an ancient battle in which Ganondorf fought on horseback, wielding a trident. This isn't just an insignificant detail. While tridents are now known to be traditional Gerudo and Zora weaponry by the time of Breath of the Wild, they actually have a long, dark history in the Zelda series, all tied to one individual, Ganon. The trident is the signature weapon of the Demon King, appearing first as the Dark Wizard's weapon of choice in A Link to the Past, as well as the joint Oracle game, Four Swords Adventures and A Link Between Worlds, in addition to Nightmare Ganon in Link's Awakening and Phantom Ganon in Ocarina of Time. With the exception of Four Swords Adventures, we've never got a backstory behind this iconic evil weapon, and with the exception of Ocarina of Time's Phantom Ganon, never seen it appear in a 3D Zelda game. But with Breath of the Wild 2 resurrecting Ganondorf's original body, it seems likely that they'll reunite him with his classic trident. We've never seen Ganondorf, in his Gerudo form, wield the trident in a true Zelda game, but we've got a glimpse at just how cool it could be in Hyrule Warriors. This game seems set to give us the true showdown against the evil king, coming face to face with the source of Hyrule's torment. And there's no better way to set up a final battle against Ganondorf himself than to finally equip him with his boar form's signature weapon, the trident. Gear upgrades. Breath of the Wild's weapon durability is one of its most heavily criticised mechanics. Whether you find an old stick or inherit the legendary bow of the Rito champion and master marksman Revali, they'll both eventually meet the same fate. While this mechanic forces the player to use different weapons than they're used to, and prevents them from clinging onto a particularly strong royal broadsword for the entire game, it is strange that there's no way to repair or upgrade weapons, or even a way to see the durability left on your gear. The previous Zelda game, Skyward Sword, also featured durability, in particular with its shields. Like Breath of the Wild, this game's shields range from the humble wooden up to the mighty Hylian shield, the latter of which is the only shield in the game to be completely unbreakable. These shields all have a gauge. When this gauge reaches 0, the shield will shatter. However, on Skyloft, there's a scrap shop run by Gondo, who will repair shields for a price as well as upgrade them. The Iron Shield, for example, can be upgraded to the Reinforced Shield and then the Fortified Shield, offering increased durability. These upgrades cost both rupees and materials, both of which appeared in abundance in Breath of the Wild and likely will too in its sequel. Skyward Sword even featured Revitalizing Potion, a magic brew which can be applied to damaged shields to repair them, as well as save a shattered shield if it breaks. Both of these mechanics are incredibly useful and are something I'd love to see return in the sequel to Breath of the Wild. During the sequel's trailer, Link's outfit is particularly interesting. It appears to be a combination of the Hylian tunic and the Champion's tunic from Breath of the Wild. Could this be a glimpse at a mechanic involving upgrading, or combining, pieces of equipment? We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content. A huge shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you fancy trying the service out, head over to squarespace.com/Zeltic to start a free trial. And of course, leave in the comments below or at zeltic.co.uk if you've got any video suggestions. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.